Welcome back to WiserReads, the channel where we break down the world's most influential books so you can unlock their wisdom and apply it to your own life. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about, debated, and powerful guides to strategy and influence ever written, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. This isn't just another self-help book. Since its release, it has become a cult classic, studied by leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, and even celebrities around the world. Why? Because it reveals the timeless principles of power, how it's gained, how it's used, and how it can be lost. Greene pulls lessons from history, philosophy, and real-world stories of rulers, generals, and influencers who mastered the subtle game of influence, or failed spectacularly. At its core, the 48 Laws of Power is about understanding human behavior. It teaches us that power is everywhere, in business, in relationships, in politics, and even in everyday interactions. Whether it's learning when to speak less, how to guard your reputation, when to strike boldly, or when to remain formless like water, each law offers a strategy for navigating the complex world of ambition and competition. But here's the key. Greene doesn't tell you whether these laws are good or bad. Instead, he presents them as tools. It's up to you to decide how to use them, ethically, strategically, or defensively to protect yourself and to thrive. In this video, we'll explore the essence of these 48 laws and uncover how you can apply their lessons in your own journey. If you want to grow wiser and sharper with every book, don't forget to subscribe to WiserReads, because knowledge is power, and here we make power practical. The first law of power, never outshine the master, emphasizes the danger of overshadowing those in authority. Robert Greene explains that when you make your superiors feel insecure, threatened, or outshined, you risk resentment, jealousy, and eventual downfall. Human nature craves recognition and status, and when leaders sense that someone beneath them appears more capable, charming, or intelligent, they may retaliate to protect their position. The key lesson is to practice subtlety and diplomacy. Instead of flaunting your talents, find ways to make your superiors feel more important, intelligent, and in control. Allow them to shine while you advance quietly in the background. By doing this, you gain their trust, support, and protection while avoiding unnecessary envy. This law is not about hiding your skills, but about using them strategically. Timing, modesty, and tact are crucial. You can still grow in influence and power, but do so in a way that uplifts those above you rather than challenging their authority directly. In short, to preserve your position and rise steadily, never outshine the master. Instead, make them feel indispensable, and they will open the way for your success.
Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Robert Greene's second law warns against relying too heavily on friends. While friends may seem loyal, they are often driven by emotions, envy, or familiarity that can turn into betrayal. Because they know you well, they may take liberties, expect favors, or let jealousy creep in when your success outpaces theirs. Trusting them blindly can leave you vulnerable. Enemies, on the other hand, can sometimes be more reliable allies. Since they have something to prove and a reputation to redeem, they often go further to demonstrate loyalty when given a chance. Their ambition to shift from foe to ally can make them highly motivated to serve your interests. The lesson is not to abandon friendships, but to be cautious with trust. Keep friendships warm but professional, and avoid mixing too much personal dependence with business or power. At the same time, don't dismiss former rivals. Transforming them into allies can create stronger bonds than friendship alone. In essence, balance relationships wisely. Friends may betray out of envy, but enemies can become valuable partners when managed with strategy and foresight.
Conceal your intentions. Law 3, conceal your intentions, teaches that revealing too much about your plans gives others the chance to interfere, compete, or undermine you. People are naturally curious and often seek to gain an advantage. When your true motives are exposed, opponents can prepare defenses, while allies may use your ideas for themselves. To maintain power, you must master the art of discretion. By hiding your goals, you keep others off balance and unable to predict your next move. Greene suggests using misdirection, ambiguity, or decoy intentions to distract people from your real purpose. The less others know about your strategy, the less control they have over your success. This law does not advocate lying for the sake of deceit, but encourages strategic silence. Reveal information only when it benefits you, and never more than necessary. Mystery creates intrigue, while secrecy protects your position. In practice, concealing your intentions allows you to act with freedom and strike when least expected. The element of surprise ensures you maintain the upper hand, while others are left guessing and unprepared. In short, power grows in the shadows. Reveal too much light, and you risk losing it.
Always say less than necessary. Law 4, always say less than necessary, highlights the power of restraint in communication. The more you speak, the greater the chance of revealing something harmful, your weaknesses, intentions, or emotions. Words can easily be misinterpreted, used against you, or diminish your authority. Powerful individuals often speak with brevity, letting silence and mystery do the work. When you say little, you appear more in control, confident, and thoughtful. People tend to fill the silence with their own interpretations, often attributing greater intelligence and depth to you than may actually exist. In contrast, speaking too much can make you seem desperate, insecure, or careless. This law encourages discipline. Choose your words carefully, reveal only what is necessary, and avoid over-explaining. By mastering silence and precision, you create an aura of authority and intrigue. Others will pay closer attention when you do speak, valuing your words more. In essence, the less you reveal, the harder it is for others to predict or manipulate you. Control over your speech equals control over perception, and perception is a foundation of power.
So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Law 5 emphasizes that reputation is the cornerstone of power. It shapes how others perceive you before you even act, often determining opportunities, trust, and influence. A strong reputation can intimidate rivals, attract allies, and protect you from attack. Conversely, a damaged reputation leaves you vulnerable and weak regardless of your actual abilities. Robert Greene explains that reputation acts as a shield. When people believe in your strength, competence, or reliability, they are less likely to challenge you. This perception alone can win battles without conflict. Because of this, guarding your reputation must be a constant priority. Even small rumors or careless actions can erode it quickly. The law also advises using reputation offensively. By discrediting opponents or exposing flaws in their image, you weaken their power while strengthening your own. However, Greene warns that reputation is fragile. Once lost, it is extremely difficult to rebuild. The lesson is clear. Cultivate an image that serves your goals. Defend it vigilantly and never allow enemies to tarnish it unchecked. Power often flows not from what you truly are, but from what people believe you to be.
Court attention at all costs. Law 6 stresses a timeless truth. Visibility is power. In a crowded world, those who fade into the background are easily forgotten, while those who attract attention command influence and opportunity. Robert Greene argues that being noticed, whether through bold actions, striking style, or memorable words, is essential to maintaining relevance and authority.
Attention creates presence. Without it, your ideas, talents, or achievements can go unseen. By standing out, you shape the narrative around you and prevent others from defining your reputation. This law encourages cultivating a distinctive image, mastering timing, and creating moments that capture people's imagination. However, not all attention must be positive. Even controversy can work in your favor if it keeps you in the public eye. Indifference is more dangerous than criticism because being ignored erodes influence faster than opposition. The goal is not reckless spectacle, but deliberate visibility, ensuring people constantly think, talk, and wonder about you. In short, obscurity is death to power. To rise and stay relevant, you must court attention strategically, keeping yourself at the center of the stage while never allowing rivals to outshine your presence. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Law 7 teaches that power often comes not from effort alone, but from leveraging the skills and labor of others. Robert Greene explains that history remembers leaders, innovators, and visionaries, not the countless people who contributed behind the scenes. By channeling the work of others and presenting it as part of your achievements, you conserve energy, expand your influence, and appear indispensable. This law doesn't encourage laziness, but strategy. Masters of power delegate tasks, absorb knowledge, and borrow innovations, then position themselves as the face of success. When credit is attached to your name, your reputation grows, opening doors to even greater opportunities. Meanwhile, those who cling to recognition for their efforts often remain in the shadows. Greene advises that by making others work toward your goals, you multiply your output without exhausting yourself. Just as generals win wars by commanding armies rather than fighting alone, powerful people rise by directing the labor of many. The key is subtlety. Acknowledge contributions enough to maintain loyalty, but always ensure the spotlight shines on you. In the end, power favors the one whose name carries the glory, not the one who did the heavy lifting. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Law 8 emphasizes the importance of control in any power dynamic. When you chase after others, you place yourself in a weaker position, showing dependence and exposing your intentions. Instead, Robert Greene advises creating situations where others are drawn to you. By doing so, you dictate the terms of interaction, set the environment, and maintain the upper hand. The way to achieve this is through bait, something that appeals to your target's desires, fears, or needs. This could be an opportunity, a reward, or even the allure of mystery. When people believe they are acting by choice, yet are responding to your setup, you retain silent control. This law also warns against impatience. Waiting and luring requires strategy and self-discipline, but the rewards are greater. Those who come to you are already halfway persuaded, making them easier to influence or manipulate. Ultimately, this law is about positioning. By drawing others into your orbit, you appear confident and desirable, while your rivals expend energy chasing after you. True power lies in making people move toward you, not the other way around. Win through your actions, never through argument. Law 9 highlights a crucial truth. Words rarely change minds, but actions can. Robert Greene warns that arguments, no matter how logical, often breed resentment, stubbornness, or hidden opposition. Even when you win a debate, you may lose influence, as the other person feels humiliated or resistant to your dominance. In contrast, actions deliver undeniable proof. When you demonstrate results, instead of trying to persuade with words, people see the evidence for themselves. Actions bypass ego and pride, making your point far more powerful and lasting.
A silent demonstration can dismantle opposition without sparking open hostility. This law teaches restraint and strategy. Save your energy for action rather than endless discussion. Use silence to your advantage, allowing your results to speak on your behalf. By doing so, you maintain dignity, avoid unnecessary conflict, and often achieve deeper influence. The key lesson: don't argue to prove you are right. Show it. Actions create conviction, while arguments create resistance. Power belongs to those who let success, achievement, and visible results do the talking. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Law 10 warns of the hidden danger of associating with negative, miserable, or chronically unlucky people. Robert Greene explains that emotions, attitudes, and misfortune are highly contagious. By spending time with those who constantly radiate despair, bitterness, or failure, you risk absorbing their energy and attracting similar setbacks into your own life. Greene is not suggesting cruelty or indifference, but strategy. Sympathy and good intentions cannot protect you from the destructive pull of negativity. The unhappy often look for others to share their burden, whether consciously or not, and in doing so, they drain your vitality and derail your ambitions. Instead, you should surround yourself with the fortunate, the optimistic, and the successful. Their confidence, enthusiasm, and momentum are equally contagious, lifting you higher and increasing your chances of success. Protecting your emotional environment is just as critical as protecting your reputation. The law's lesson is clear. Avoid entanglements with those whose lives are full of chaos or failure. Misery loves company, but power belongs to those who guard their circle carefully and seek out uplifting influences. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Law 11 teaches that independence is dangerous in the world of power. The more self-sufficient others become, the less control you have over them. Robert Greene argues that to secure influence and protect your position, you must cultivate situations where people rely on your skills, knowledge, or resources. When others need you to succeed, they cannot easily betray or replace you. Dependence creates loyalty, often more effectively than trust or affection. By making yourself indispensable, you gain leverage in relationships, business, and politics. Greene emphasizes that this does not mean exploiting others openly, but carefully positioning yourself as a vital part of their success or security. At the same time, you must avoid becoming dependent on anyone yourself. Relying too heavily on another person makes you vulnerable, giving them the power to control or discard you. Balance lies in creating one-sided reliance. Others depend on you, but you remain free. The lesson is simple, but powerful. Never give away all your knowledge or resources. Keep something essential in reserve so people always need your presence. True power grows not just from what you provide, but from ensuring no one can do without it. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Law 12 reveals the strategic power of well-timed honesty and generosity. Robert Greene explains that people are naturally suspicious of manipulation, but a single sincere gesture can break down their defenses and win trust. When used sparingly, acts of honesty or kindness make others lower their guard, leaving them open to your influence. This law is not about being virtuous at all times. Instead, it's about deploying honesty and generosity as tools. A small sacrifice, a frank admission, or a meaningful gift can convince others of your goodwill, masking your deeper intentions. Once trust is established, you can guide situations in your favor without resistance. However, Greene warns against overuse. Constant generosity breeds expectation or suspicion, while total honesty can expose you. The strength lies in selectivity. offering just enough to disarm, then pulling back once control is secured. The lesson? Strategic sincerity is more persuasive than endless words or arguments. By appearing open, you make others vulnerable. By appearing generous, you bind them with gratitude. Power often lies not in deception alone, but in mixing truth with calculation to achieve your goals.
When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. Law 13 teaches that appeals to gratitude, loyalty, or friendship are weak motivators when seeking help. Robert Greene explains that people are driven primarily by self-interest, not by duty or past favors. When you remind someone of what they owe you, they may feel resentment instead of obligation. But when you show them how helping you also benefits them, their motivation becomes natural and lasting. The key is to frame your request around their desires, ambitions, or fears. Instead of highlighting your need, emphasize what they stand to gain, whether it's profit, influence, recognition, or protection. By making your success align with their self-interest, you transform them from reluctant assistants into willing partners. Greene also notes that appealing to self-interest requires observation and strategy. You must study others carefully to understand what truly drives them, since not everyone is moved by the same incentives. Tailoring your request to their personal motivations makes cooperation far more likely. In short, don't rely on loyalty or guilt to win support. Instead, speak to people's advantage. When others see your cause as serving their own goals, they will help you eagerly and believe it was their idea all along.
Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Law 14 highlights the value of information in gaining and maintaining power. Robert Greene explains that knowledge about people's intentions, weaknesses, and desires is one of the most effective tools for influence. The challenge, however, is that others rarely reveal these details openly. To gain insight, you must observe carefully, and sometimes disguise your intentions. By posing as a friend, you create a sense of trust and closeness that encourages people to speak freely. In casual conversations, they often reveal far more than they realize, providing you with valuable intelligence. As Greene notes, a friendly ear is more effective than direct questioning, which can make others defensive. The lesson is not about malice, but strategy. Armed with inside knowledge, you can anticipate moves, exploit opportunities, and avoid hidden dangers. At the same time, you must guard against being spied on yourself. Revealing too much, even to those who seem close, can leave you vulnerable. In short, friendship can be a mask for gathering power. Use warmth and curiosity to learn what others keep hidden while protecting your own secrets. In the game of power, those who know more hold the advantage. Crush your enemy totally. Law 15 teaches that leaving an enemy partially defeated is a dangerous mistake. Robert Greene explains that if rivals are allowed to survive with strength, pride, or resources intact, they will eventually recover and seek revenge. Human nature resists humiliation, and even a weakened opponent will bide their time, waiting for the chance to strike back. The only way to ensure lasting security is to eliminate threats completely. Not always through literal destruction, but by removing their ability to challenge you. This can mean cutting off influence, undermining their reputation, or breaking their alliances. When an enemy is left with no path to return, they cannot destabilize your position. Greene draws lessons from history, showing how half measures often backfire, while decisive action creates stability. Mercy or compromise may appear noble, but in power struggles, they can leave seeds of danger that grow stronger over time. The law's lesson is clear. When conflict is unavoidable, finish it fully. By crushing your enemy totally, You not only remove the immediate threat, but also send a warning to others. Power is safest when opponents have no chance to rise again.
Use absence to increase respect and honor. Law 16 explains that constant presence can diminish your value, while well-timed absence can elevate it. Robert Greene notes that familiarity often breeds contempt. The more accessible you are, the more ordinary you appear, and the easier it is for others to take you for granted. By withdrawing strategically, you create scarcity. Just as rare objects are prized more highly, your absence makes people notice your importance and long for your return. Distance allows respect and admiration to grow, while too much exposure can cheapen your influence. This law also applies in relationships, leadership, and reputation. When you step back at the right moment, you give others space to appreciate your contributions and recognize how much they rely on you. Your return then carries more weight as anticipation magnifies your impact. Greene warns, however, that absence must be used carefully. If overdone, it risks alienation or irrelevance. The key is balance. Remain present enough to maintain influence, but absent enough to spark curiosity and respect. In essence, strategic withdrawal is a tool of power. By mastering when to step forward and when to step back, you make your presence more valuable than your absence.
Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Law 17 highlights the power of unpredictability. Robert Greene explains that human beings crave patterns and stability. When your behavior is predictable, others can anticipate your moves, prepare defenses, and even exploit you. But when you act unpredictably, you create fear, confusion, and hesitation, giving you the advantage. Uncertainty keeps people off balance. If rivals cannot guess your intentions, they waste energy second-guessing and overreacting. This psychological pressure often forces them into mistakes or submission. By breaking expectations, you project a sense of power that exceeds your actual resources. Greene stresses that unpredictability doesn't mean recklessness. It's not about acting chaotically without purpose, but about using surprise and variation as deliberate tools. A sudden change of pace, an unexpected decision, or a break from routine can keep others constantly alert and unable to relax around you. The lesson? Fear and respect grow when others cannot read you. Predictability breeds control for your opponents, while mystery keeps you in command. In the game of power, calculated unpredictability ensures that you remain the one shaping the rules.
Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Law 18 warns against the instinct to retreat into isolation as a form of safety. Robert Greene explains that while solitude may seem like protection from threats, it actually weakens you. By cutting yourself off from people, you lose access to information, alliances, and influence. Isolation blinds you to shifts in power, leaving you vulnerable and out of touch. In history, rulers who locked themselves away often lost their thrones because they were disconnected from the currents of intrigue and unable to sense danger until it was too late. On the other hand, those who stayed visible and engaged built networks of loyalty and kept control of information. Greene emphasizes that true security comes from connection, not retreat. Power thrives in circulation. By moving among people, observing, and maintaining influence, you can sense threats early and shape events in your favor. The law's core lesson: seclusion breeds weakness, while interaction builds strength. Even in times of conflict, resist the urge to hide behind walls. Instead, stay engaged, keep your presence felt, and let the flow of information and alliances protect you more effectively than isolation ever could. Know who you're dealing with.
Do not offend the wrong person. Law 19 stresses the importance of understanding the people around you. Robert Greene explains that not everyone reacts to situations in the same way. Some are forgiving, others are prideful, and a few may be dangerously vengeful. A careless insult or misstep with the wrong person can lead to lasting enemies, sabotage, or even your downfall. The key is to study people's personalities, strengths, and insecurities before you act. Some individuals thrive on respect and recognition, while others demand loyalty or fear humiliation. By misjudging them, you risk provoking reactions far greater than the offense itself. Greene illustrates this with examples of rulers and leaders who underestimated the temperaments of rivals, only to face ruin. Offending a powerful, insecure, or ruthless individual often escalates into battles you cannot win. The lesson? Choose your battles wisely. Avoid unnecessary conflicts, and never assume everyone will react mildly to your words or actions. By carefully assessing who you're dealing with, you can tailor your approach, maintain alliances, and avoid creating enemies who might dedicate themselves to your destruction. Do not commit to anyone. Law 20 advises against binding yourself too tightly to any one person, cause, or faction. Robert Greene explains that total commitment makes you predictable, limits your options, and places power in the hands of those you've tied yourself to. Once you are dependent on their approval or protection, you sacrifice your freedom and flexibility. Instead, Greene suggests maintaining independence. By refusing to commit fully, you keep others guessing and competing for your support. This ambiguity enhances your value. When multiple sides want your loyalty, you gain leverage and influence without being locked into obligations. The law doesn't mean rejecting all alliances. Rather, it's about avoiding permanent entanglements that trap you. Temporary alignments, chosen on your terms, allow you to extract benefits while staying free to shift when circumstances change. The core idea: preserve your autonomy at all costs. Commitment often serves the interests of others more than your own. By staying unattached, you remain adaptable, desirable, and in control. Power comes not from pledging loyalty, but from keeping your independence and making others work to win your favor. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Law 21 emphasizes the power of appearing less intelligent, skilled, or aware than you truly are. Robert Greene explains that people are easily disarmed when they believe they are smarter or more capable than you. Their ego blinds them, causing them to reveal more, underestimate you, or let their guard down. By deliberately underplaying your strengths, you create an environment where others feel secure and superior. This illusion of dominance makes them careless, opening opportunities for you to maneuver and gain advantage. History is filled with examples of individuals who feigned ignorance or weakness only to outsmart their opponents at the decisive moment. Greene warns, however, that this strategy must be subtle. Overdoing it can arouse suspicion or make others lose respect for you. The goal isn't to appear foolish, but just enough to encourage others to underestimate your abilities. The lesson? Never flaunt your intelligence too openly. Making others feel inferior breeds resentment and competition, while making them believe they are smarter empowers you to guide outcomes from the shadows. In the game of power, humility, even if feigned, can be the ultimate disguise for control. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Law 22 teaches that when you are weaker or outmatched, fighting back directly often leads to ruin. Robert Greene explains that resistance in the face of overwhelming force only highlights your vulnerability. Instead, surrender can be a powerful tactic, not as defeat,
but as a strategic retreat that preserves your resources and positions you for a comeback. By yielding temporarily, you disarm your opponent. Victory makes them overconfident, complacent, or even merciful, while your apparent submission buys you time to recover, regroup, and wait for conditions to shift in your favor. History shows that those who master the art of surrender often turn their weakness into long-term strength, regaining power when the moment was right. Greene stresses that surrender should never be viewed as weakness. It's a conscious choice to avoid destruction while quietly preparing for the future. Like water, which yields to obstacles yet eventually wears them down, surrender allows you to outlast your enemy. The core lesson: when direct battle is unwinnable, retreat with dignity. Patience and resilience turn short-term loss into long-term advantage. True power lies not in endless resistance, but in knowing when to bend so you can rise again, stronger. Concentrate your forces. Law 23 emphasizes the importance of focusing your energy, resources, and influence on a single, decisive point rather than scattering them across many fronts. Robert Greene explains that power grows strongest when it is concentrated. Spreading yourself too thin dilutes your impact, weakens your position, and makes you vulnerable to stronger rivals who act with focus. History and strategy demonstrate that victories often go to those who direct their efforts toward a core objective or area of strength. Whether in battle, business, or personal pursuits, concentration creates momentum. Like the sun's rays magnified through a lens, focus intensifies power until it becomes unstoppable. Greene warns against chasing too many opportunities or trying to dominate everywhere at once. Instead, identify the most critical source of influence, whether a key ally, a strategic territory, or a single skill, and build your strength there. Once secure, you can expand outward from a position of dominance. The lesson: power is not about doing everything, but about mastering where it counts most. By concentrating your forces, you maximize efficiency, create decisive impact, and establish a foundation that others cannot easily challenge.
Play the perfect courtier. Law 24 teaches that in environments ruled by hierarchy and influence, power belongs not to the loudest or most forceful, but to those who master subtlety, charm, and diplomacy. Robert Greene describes the perfect courtier as someone who thrives in circles of power by adapting, pleasing, and maneuvering without drawing envy or resentment. The perfect courtier avoids blunt honesty, arrogance, or open ambition, qualities that threaten those above. Instead, they practice discretion, flattery, and attentiveness. By making others feel valued and superior, they gain favor while advancing their own position quietly. Courtly skills like timing, tact, and restraint are more effective than brute force or direct confrontation. Greene emphasizes that this law still applies in modern settings, such as workplaces, politics, and social circles. Success often depends less on raw talent and more on the ability to navigate relationships with elegance and care. The lesson? Power flows to those who make themselves indispensable without appearing threatening. By mastering the art of the courtier, graceful, adaptable, and subtle, you secure influence while keeping rivals disarmed and superiors pleased. True power lies in playing the game beautifully, not forcefully.
Recreate yourself. Law 25 emphasizes the power of self-transformation. Robert Greene explains that those who cling to a fixed identity or rely on inherited roles limit their influence and become predictable targets. To gain power, you must actively shape your persona, image, and public perception.
Recreating yourself involves understanding how others see you and deliberately crafting an identity that commands respect, attention, and authority. This might mean adopting new skills, presenting a distinctive style, or projecting confidence in ways that align with your goals. Greene illustrates that history's most powerful figures reinvented themselves to adapt to changing circumstances, ensuring relevance and control. The lesson also warns against relying on the approval of others. By shaping your own image, you maintain autonomy and prevent rivals from defining your narrative. Authenticity matters, but in power dynamics, perception often outweighs reality. The way others see you determines your influence. The lesson: don't be a passive reflection of society's expectations or past identity. Take charge of your persona, evolve continually, and project a version of yourself that serves your ambitions. In doing so, you become harder to predict, easier to admire, and impossible to ignore.
Keep your hands clean. Law 26 stresses the importance of maintaining a spotless reputation while wielding power. Robert Greene explains that appearing honest, ethical, and above reproach strengthens influence, while being associated with scandal, wrongdoing, or dirty deeds can destroy credibility and make you vulnerable. The key is strategic delegation. Those who want to enforce unpopular decisions or eliminate threats should do so indirectly, using intermediaries or carefully planned maneuvers that leave their own hands clean. By avoiding visible blame, you protect your image while still achieving your objectives. Historical examples show leaders who maintained a facade of virtue while controlling events behind the scenes, consolidating power without jeopardizing their reputation. Greene warns against getting embroiled in controversies, public fights, or unnecessary confrontations. Even small lapses can be magnified by rivals, turning minor mistakes into major liabilities. The appearance of moral authority is a tool of power itself. The lesson: let others do the dirty work while you remain above reproach. Power is easier to maintain when your image is untarnished. By keeping your hands clean, you safeguard influence, command respect, and ensure that your reputation strengthens rather than diminishes with every action. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. Law 27 explores the deep human desire for belief and meaning. Robert Greene explains that people are naturally drawn to causes, leaders, and ideas that give them hope, structure, or purpose. By tapping into this need, you can inspire devotion, loyalty, and even blind obedience, the foundation of cult-like power. To build such influence, offer followers something larger than themselves: a vision, promise, or mission that stirs emotion more than reason. Use symbols, rituals, and dramatic gestures to make the vision feel alive. Encourage unity by creating an us versus them mindset, giving followers a sense of belonging and purpose. Greene warns that such power can be dangerous if mishandled. Manipulating belief requires discipline. Once devotion is sparked, it must be carefully maintained through consistency and spectacle. However, when done effectively, this strategy ensures unwavering support, shielding you from challenges and amplifying your influence. The lesson: people crave guidance and faith. By positioning yourself as the source of meaning, you elevate beyond ordinary authority. Those who master the psychology of belief can gather followers who defend, obey, and empower them, creating a lasting base of power that is difficult to rival. Enter action with boldness. Law 28 stresses that hesitation and timidity are fatal in the pursuit of power.
Robert Greene explains that uncertainty makes others doubt you, while half-hearted actions invite resistance. Boldness, on the other hand, inspires confidence, silences opposition, and creates momentum in your favor. When you act boldly, people assume you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Boldness has a psychological effect. It intimidates rivals, reassures allies, and attracts attention and opportunities. History is filled with leaders, entrepreneurs, and conquerors who achieved success not through caution, but through decisive, fearless moves that gave them the upper hand. Greene warns that boldness must be paired with calculation. Recklessness leads to disaster, but deliberate, bold action creates the impression of mastery. Even mistakes, if committed with confidence, can be reframed as intentional. In contrast, hesitant actions amplify errors and make recovery harder. The lesson? Commit fully to your decisions. If you must strike, do it with force. If you must move, do it with clarity and conviction. Power favors those who dare, and boldness often creates the very opportunities that caution would never allow. Plan all the way to the end. Law 29 emphasizes the importance of foresight and strategy in gaining and maintaining power. Robert Greene explains that many people act impulsively, focusing on only immediate gains while ignoring the long-term consequences. This short-sightedness often leads to traps, mistakes, or failures that could have been avoided with proper planning. To wield power effectively, you must envision the entire path, from the first move to the ultimate goal. This means anticipating obstacles, rival reactions, shifting circumstances, and potential risks. By preparing for different scenarios, you minimize surprises and maintain control, while those who improvise are more likely to be thrown off course. Planning also strengthens confidence. When you know your end goal and the steps to reach it, you act with clarity and purpose, which inspires trust in allies and hesitation in opponents. Greene stresses that plans should be flexible. Rigid strategies can crumble when conditions change, but the vision of the end must remain firm. The lesson? Power belongs to those who think ahead. By plotting the course to the finish line, you ensure victories are complete, secure, and lasting, leaving no room for rivals to undo your success.
Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Law 30 teaches that true power comes not only from achievement, but from the way it is presented. Robert Greene explains that when accomplishments appear natural and effortless, they inspire admiration and respect. In contrast, revealing the hard work, struggle, or anxiety behind success diminishes its impact, making you seem less in control. People are drawn to grace under pressure. If you can solve problems, master skills, or achieve victories while concealing the sweat behind them, you project superiority. This aura of ease convinces others that you possess unique talent or mastery, raising your status. Historical figures, from artists to generals, often hid the years of discipline and preparation that fueled their triumphs, letting the results speak as if born of genius. Greene cautions against complaining, over-explaining, or boasting about effort. Doing so highlights difficulty rather than achievement and risks envy or dismissal. Instead, polish your presentation so that even complex undertakings seem simple in your hands. The lesson? Conceal the toil, reveal only the brilliance. By making success appear effortless, you not only magnify your accomplishments, but also maintain an aura of natural authority and power.
Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. Law 31 highlights the power of controlling choices.
Robert Greene explains that real influence doesn't always come from forcing people into decisions, but from shaping the options available so that no matter what they choose, the outcome benefits you. This creates the illusion of freedom while ensuring your control. By framing the situation, you guide others into making decisions that serve your interests. People feel more comfortable when they believe they're acting independently, yet the structure of their options subtly directs them toward your desired result. Leaders, businesses, and strategists have long used this tactic, offering limited choices that lead to the same advantage while keeping unfavorable alternatives out of reach. Greene warns that presenting too many options can create confusion or resistance. Instead, offer clear, attractive paths, each secretly designed to strengthen your position. This prevents opponents from rebelling and makes them complicit in their own manipulation. The lesson: control lies not in confrontation, but in shaping the framework of choice. When you define the cards others can play, you dictate the game itself, turning every decision into a step that advances play to people's fantasies. Law 32 explains that people are rarely satisfied with reality. Life often feels harsh, disappointing, or ordinary, and most prefer comforting illusions over unpleasant truths. Robert Greene argues that those who can tap into people's fantasies, offering dreams, hope, or escape, gain immense influence and loyalty. Hard truths may earn temporary respect, but they rarely inspire devotion. By contrast, presenting visions of a better future, magical solutions, or extraordinary possibilities captures imagination and stirs desire. Leaders, artists, and rulers throughout history have maintained power not by reflecting reality, but by feeding people's longing for something greater. Greene cautions that exposing reality too bluntly can breed resentment. People often punish those who shatter illusions, preferring comforting lies to painful honesty. Instead, skillfully shape narratives that align with their deepest wishes. By embodying their dreams, you make yourself indispensable. The lesson: power flows to those who provide fantasy. When you channel people's hopes and offer them a vision to believe in, you elevate yourself beyond the ordinary. Reality may limit, but fantasy liberates. And those who master it can bind followers more tightly than truth ever could. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Law 33 focuses on the art of uncovering people's hidden weaknesses and deepest desires. Robert Greene explains that everyone has a thumbscrew, a vulnerability that can be used to influence or control them. It may be an insecurity, a fear, a secret need, or an uncontrollable passion. Finding it gives you leverage, allowing you to guide their actions without open confrontation. Observation is key. Pay attention to body language, behavior, or reactions under pressure. Listen carefully to what people reveal in conversation. Often their weaknesses surface indirectly. Flattery can expose vanity, probing questions can uncover insecurities, and patience can reveal hidden motives. Greene stresses that exploiting weaknesses does not always mean cruelty. Sometimes fulfilling someone's desire or easing their insecurity can win loyalty as effectively as pressure. The point is to understand what drives them and to use it strategically. The lesson: knowledge of others is power. By identifying and mastering the hidden levers that move people, you can influence their decisions, neutralize threats, and secure advantage. Those who ignore this truth risk being controlled by those who know their own weaknesses better. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. Law 34 emphasizes that people judge you largely by how you carry yourself. Robert Greene explains that if you act with confidence, dignity, and self-respect as if you are worthy of honor, others will treat you accordingly. But if you present yourself as unsure, needy, or inferior, you invite neglect, disrespect, and exploitation. Acting royal does not mean arrogance or vanity. Instead, it means embodying self-assurance, setting high standards, and refusing to beg for attention or validation. Those who project authority naturally command it. People are drawn to strength and often mirror the respect you show yourself. Greene warns against lowering yourself to please others or chasing approval. Such behavior diminishes your perceived value. By maintaining composure, even in difficult situations, you signal that you are in control and deserving of respect. History shows that leaders who displayed regal confidence often inspired loyalty and admiration, even when their actual power was limited. The lesson? Carry yourself as if you